All right. Welcome to the first of 50 episodes of summarizing the Final Fantasy 10 to 10 campaign. Re-Remastered.
It will not take us that long. Place?
Okay. So for this game, Frey was the dungeon master. He had heard my deep wish of, oh man, I wish I could play an Anima summoner for a whole entire campaign. And you were like, bet I can do that. There, I've got a story from my childhood where one of the main characters is a summoner, and I told you what you were getting yourself into, and you were like, yeah, we'll figure it out. You know, we'll find ways to balance. And I think in the end we did, even though at the very end we stopped rolling the dice because it wasn't necessary anymore.
Yeah, you did officially break the system by the end of that there. I want to say, I think it is notable that I went pretty quickly from like earlier in the Dragon Ball campaign being like, yep, nope, I'm not reading that. Magic, I don't need to know it, and I'm not going to.
Yeah. Shit, I need to do homework to catch up to Simon.
Yeah, I mean, especially like trying to GM against, I mean, a build that was intentionally every kind of busted. In a broken game system, so
yeah. Watch my video on that is called "The Most Broken Build in the Most Broken Tabletop Role Playing Game."
That's a good name.
To understand the details of what we're talking about, in case, yeah. So a couple of changes from the original Final Fantasy X. First off, the Blondie isn't there at all.
Yeah, Titus is completely absent. The main character is just Yuna the whole time. I did a little roll some aspects of Titus into Yuna, but we can get to that later.
Yeah, like not knowing my ancestry.
Well, the Albed thing that is just Yuna. But there's some Titus stuff that gets rolled into Yuna that comes up a lot later on.
That's fair. I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, but so the story literally just starts with Yuna, the day of her first Trial of the Faith, right before your first Trial of the Faith, and getting Valifor. So we're just in Beaconal. It's a totally chill, completely normal day.
Yeah.
In which,
as per usual for Anima builds, I had to be like, okay, can I cast some spells and do a couple of rituals? I need 6 months. I need 6 months to cast all of the to do some stuff to prepare my build before we actually begin. And we were like, okay, it's been 6 months since news of Sin's return have come around. So you had 6 months to get yourself 6 familiars. And the very first thing that I did was I was like, okay, it's not cheating if I'm using my summoner abilities to find out more about the Trial of the Faiths, right? That's like, I'm just doing research. So I had one of my Soul Scavenger. I don't think we decided which one of them it was.
Yeah, I don't think at this point it super mattered.
Yeah. They didn't have varying personalities at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So one of them went, and I used the spy mechanics to be like, all right, I'm gonna have one of them perch on top of the shoulder of the head monk to try to spy on him and see what sort of preparations they do for a Trial of the Faith. Because my thought process was this is something that's done by the monks, right? I was very wrong, but so like one of the first things I do is that I have let's say it was Akira, right? I have Akira kill a fly, right? Take the body of the fly above the sleeping head monk into his quarters, drop it on him, because the fly was one of my was a victim of Akira. It could enter its body, and then anything that touched its body, the dead body, I could force them to make a saving throw or be possessed, and I succeeded. So I was spying on the head monk for the entire time. That's also when we'd established, oh yeah, those buildings definitely enchanted so that immaterial creatures can't just pass into the walls and just spy around.
Yep.
So you made things a little bit complicated, but yeah.
I honestly, it was an early choice. It was one of the most important choices in the entire campaign. I'm so glad I stood on that.
Those buildings are enchanted. It makes sense, you know,
Mm-hmm.
if you've got, like, you don't want fiends randomly appearing inside of your temples of the faiths. You also want to contain all of the spiritual energy that's inside, apart from the ways it is supposed to be.
And I mean, given that the faith is in like a physical object that is a part of the temple, and we have, you know, we can see that like there is a like effects that can be sensed by human senses coming from that. Like you can hear the song of the faith when you're anywhere near the temple.
Yeah.
And you can see like all of Makalania is frozen because of Shiva.
The lightning thing and the
Jose, like there's Enchanted just makes sense.
yes.
Like,
so like the building allows the physical interaction between the material and the spiritual, but it means that my ghostly familiars couldn't just pass through the walls. They had to go through the entrance and like fly around and stuff.
I will say, I think one of the scenes that I enjoyed from like those like the like this was our like first or second session was there had been a moment in which you had one of your familiars like spying on like the top of the temple, and like they are immaterial, so most of the villagers couldn't see it, like completely imperceptible.
Yeah.
But I think I had both Lulu and Kamari
Kamari smelled something.
yeah, like noticed essentially that you had a familiar there. Like Lulu just saw it, but Kamari like was able to like figure out that you had the familiar there, which I thought was a really good touch for like introducing those characters too.
Yeah, like that was kind of the first, like, apart from you telling me the like specific the vague details of they raised me and took me here after Dad died. So yeah, and then the morning comes around, and I'm you know, I'm doing my purification ritual by by the beach, you know, and then I'm just walking home, and that's when I encountered
the biggest threat you faced the entire game.
like
the closest you ever came to death.
the closest I ever came to actually dying in this, and the only time, like I got defeated, sometimes, but it's the only time that I tied with a creature, and it was a level 0
Plant.
Zopo with a sleep effect.
Yep.
And it was, you know, like I told Frey, hey, listen, like, please, like, my build is going to be busted at level 2, but please be very careful at level 1, because I have no means of protecting myself, and my familiars can do combat. They can like they can attack things that are physical, but like they're not very good at it.
And I was like, oh, level 0. You've got 6. Isn't
6 familiars.
And
yeah.
aren't they all level 0s also?
I think soul scavengers are level 1.
So yeah, you got 6 level 1s up against the level 0. This should be fine.
Yeah.
No.
I got knocked unconscious, and then the familiars were like chipping away at it. Yuna was running away, and I got knocked unconscious, and then my familiars finished off the creature before it could kill me. And then Kimari had to come and rescue me from the jungle because I was unconscious in the jungle.
Yeah, Deus Ex Kimari.
Yeah. But then the trial started. So like I went in there. I had learned basically what I had learned from spying on the heads monk was they don't do much to prepare for for a summoner coming and doing their ritual. So I was like, okay, everything's already set up. I'll figure it out as I go in. It turns out I was stressed over for nothing. I go in there. I think
I fucked it up. I forgot to ask the actual question.
Yeah. So I go into the temple itself. I find out so there's the personality of the person who sacrificed themselves to become the faith has an impact on what the trials are like, what things they value, and stuff like this. And so yeah, I was like, okay, so I find out this person was a young girl. This person valued freedom, and that's why she became like a flying creature, like Valor. And yeah, I was like going into this. You might be.
I think it would be on. Oh, it's on the other computer. Of course.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
So I walk in, and Frey shows me basically a 4x4. There's like random letters, and I start basically and there's like one button in front of each letter, and I've got to like type out a word basically. And so I brute force it.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I got death, truth, or I don't know which one the third solution.
Yeah, that was part of the reason I was picking. I was trying to open it, but before I realized it was on the other computer, because I couldn't tell you honestly what the solution was to the puzzle. But I had decided that every time that you did a trial, that there would be like the real best solution, and then the okay, you passed, and you were kind of always going to pass most of them, but there was a fail possibility. That the first one I wanted to be very sure you would pass in general. So I
kind of just brute forced it, and then once it was solved, I was like, what was that? And you were like, oh shit, I forgot
to ask the question.
The question was like, it will set you free.
Oh yeah.
And the answers were like death, truth, or
like beauty.
Something like this. So I come out of there confused, and yeah, and I get a free summoning of Valor to be able to show it to the villagers that I did it without wasting my very precious mana.
This one's on the house.
Yeah. This one is just to like show the faithful that you have that I had succeeded, and in the central plaza of the village is when I made my declaration of like there's have no more fear. There's a calm coming, and it's not gonna be a normal calm. I'm gonna get rid of sin forever. This is my promise to all of you. Like I'll be back. I'm not gonna die. I'm gonna do what no summoner has done before. I'm going to end the cycle of like calms and sin.
And also, notably, because you leveled up, that also meant that all of your familiars leveled up, and so they got to actually basically start having personalities from this point, because, you know, and I know you go into it in the build video, but like each of them took like magic schools and psychic stuff at this point in time, and so we had them sort of more actually become real characters.
Yeah, so like Mordekaiser had teleportation and necromancy. So like the like as they start trying out their new powers, Mordekaiser very quickly becomes the like I'm goofing around and teleporting and pulling pranks because I can get in and out of situations very easily. But also I have one of the more poorly viewed magics in the game. So it was basically a sort of like the one who was going to have to hide their magic and rely most on their psychic powers. Akira, Hastur, the Onion Knight one was the one with like earth and creation magic and that was the I think Hastur was shielding everyone. So like the very defensive, protective type of character. And I like during the feast, I basically have them like while all of the humans and guardians and Yuna are like enjoying themselves, they're like at the edge of the village, just like trying out their powers, and they Waka sees basically what looks like 6 Yunas in different outfits, just casually throwing spells around. And I don't know what prank we started using our powers on him, like communicating telepathically in his mind, teleporting him around. Like I don't think he knew that they were fiends, but that they had been fiends at that point. But yeah, that's when we kind of start things, and then Frey is like, "All right, once the party settles down, I assume you go to sleep." And I was like, actually.
Which I want to quickly note that I did definitely, like, these are all, like, obviously that's an Onion Knight, a Kate Sith, and, like, they're all, like, Final Fantasy creatures. Like, each one of them has a different, like, in their fiend form, looks like a different, I was especially trying to draw on the different Moombas that Lulu can carry. But these are all modified sprites from, I believe I took them from FF4 to make them look a little bit more Yuna-like. Yep. Notably, Tepesh here is, of course, a black mage, but with mismatching eyes, just like Yuna.
Yeah.
And then I took the dancer job and made it resemble a little bit more closely Yuna's song sphere from 10-2. Just some little touches that I thought were nice for your... it's not actually... There it is. All this time you couldn't see it, but yeah. So her songstress dress sphere,
Wait, oh yeah.
and the mismatched eyes for Tepesh.
So yeah. So
I said, yeah, and then you go to bed.
And I was like, no, actually, I'm gonna leave behind a present for the villagers of the island. And I basically told Frey, all right, I'm going to, my familiars are going to go out into the island and they're gonna start a fight. And you were like, okay, you wander into the island, you don't really find anything. And I was like, I rolled initiative. And like I think I started out like I told you like I told you basically like I'm starting a fight. I have the AoE powers to do some stuff. So I started causing like fear in all of the fiends in the area. I gave them anxiety, and then I started reading their minds for like what their weaknesses are, and you'd given them the fire salamander stat block. So I was like, oh, they're all vulnerable to water. Okay, I'm gonna give them the on top of anxiety. I'm gonna create an illusion of a rolling wave of water that is coming from the center of the island that pushes them towards the sea, and I got all of them to basically drown themselves to death. So I went from dying to a level 0 plant to just taking on a whole island's worth of monsters in a single fight.
Yeah. I mean, I did also, I think after that, because I remember...
You threw some flying creatures at me.
Yes. I was just like, okay, well, you killed these guys, so let's try to get you something that's more of a fight.
Yeah.
So, like, I like found a flying monster stat block that was, like, level 2 or 3, and I was like, okay, there's 50 of these, too.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you did land some blows during that fight. I was still figuring out the build, and I think I was trying like once like each of the familiars was doing their own thing with psychic powers until I realized no, hold on. I'm only gonna use one psychic power per turn. And the other 5 familiars are going to channel all of their power into a single one, and it's gonna and it made the effects much more powerful. And
that was the point where you sensory deprived all of them.
I made them all blind, and then
I think you rolled so high that you removed all of their senses.
Mm-hmm.
Brody, nope, place. Brody, place.
So the morning rolls around. We are walking towards the beach, and you describe some ruins, and I'm like, oh, cool, some ruins. I'm gonna try out telemetry. And so, like, by focusing all of my familiars' psychic powers on Hastur, Hastur can like touch one of the ruins, and I rolled high enough to be able to see 1,000 years in the past. And I was trying to be like, all right, so like, what was life like for those people? You give me a vision of like scientists talking about a war that's going on, and shortly before like everything is destroyed, and I got some like glimpses of what life was like, and that's how I immediately found out, oh, the prayer symbol that we have to like greet each other respectfully among members of the clergy, that's something that they were doing in reference to the ball game, and it was really like it was lovely that like you managed to introduce the same concept that was introduced in the video game thanks to my powers of telemetry, and it made it funny for the rest of the campaign that I knew that. And then I offered all of my guardians a chance to like, I was like, if there's stuff about your past, your lives that you don't know about, or if you I would like to offer all of you the opportunity to see my past in full, so that like we know each other fully before we begin this adventure together. And I would like to give you the opportunity to like see your own lives in full. But in order to do that, I wouldn't like Hastur will need to perceive this, so I will also perceive this. I will know everything there is to know about you. And they all three turned me down, which is fair. It would have been a great opportunity for I was like, this is an anime. Everybody here has a past that is going to come up into, like, you know, it's the nature of the narrative. I was like, I'm gonna get ahead of it. I'm gonna be like, all right, let's find out what the tea is, so that we know going in. And I don't think I even looked at my own past, because they'd all been...
Yeah, they all turned you down, and they were like, we literally raised you.
Yeah. and
like, Kamari's only actually a little older than you. Like, he wasn't that old when he found you, and then the two of you, like, traveled down to Vicanel together. So, like, he didn't have that much past beforehand, though, of course, it was a complicated past. And then Lulu and Waka were both like, man, girl, I've known you since you were a child.
Yeah. And, you know, there were some stuff that they didn't necessarily want me to know. But, like... Oh man, the like getting telemetry and early on being able to be like, okay, so I know what Lulu's experience with her first pilgrimage was. Frey, can you summarize it? Can you give me all of the juicy details? And then being able to be like, okay, I know what Waka's deal is with his dead brother and Machinas and stuff like this. Man, that would have sent, like, it's like one of those, you know how you can like shorten a lot of Final Fantasy games or things like this by just being like, and then everybody went to therapy before going on the adventure.
Yeah, but then you don't have complications,
drama,
which is why they all said no.
Yeah, no, I that's absolutely fair.
I stand by that choice.
No, I would have done the same thing, knowing what I know now about those characters. It made sense that they would be like, Lulu would be like, I don't want to traumatize you with this, and Waka would be like, I don't want you to get the wrong lessons from my brother using tech, and Kimari is
like the stuff on Gagazet's very deeply personal.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I was like, man, he in particular is going to be a hard nut to crack. Like,
oh, I loved our role play with Kamari though.
Yes.
It was always so good. Like you like rattling off and me going,
And
but like giving you more detail than that too. Like
I can sense that, like, oh, this is what he's feeling in this time. Like, other characters wouldn't notice the subtleties of his. But
that was a happy.
Exactly. We meet. They're not. I don't want to call them Dumb and Dumber, but
the Crusaders. Yes. Yeah. What are their names?
Redhead and Token Black Guy.
Yeah. Yeah. The ones that in canon, one of them will die at Operation Mihen.
No matter what you do.
Yeah.
And yeah, we get on the boat. We go with we meet Meshem on the boat. We find out the boat is powered by chocobos. And I think, okay, so my disadvantages were, allergy to eggs. I had a deathly allergy to eggs. I had heavy sleeper, and there was another one. But Yuna very like we roleplay. Yuna is very seasick, and Yuna very early on declares travel by sea is an abomination, and then Sin attacks for the first time, and
Which I think I remember you using physical increase on the chocobos, like because you were feeling sick, so you were just like haste the chocobos.
yes, but also I was like fatigue recovery so that they're not too tired when we get where we're going, and Sin attacks starts to sink the ship. There was oh my gosh, so Kimar, like just like in Dragon Ball, we'd agreed that the powers of the Guardians were going to be some one-off powers that I could use during combats to like basically a small unique attack or defense that I could do, and Kimari's was like early on you hadn't said like you need to succeed in a defense so that you can throw the attack back. You just said you throw an attack back, and I was like, all right.
Yeah, like Sin's opening move was like sending a tidal wave to try to flip the boat.
Yeah,
and then because the phrasing was once per day can make an attack against a monster from that monster's character sheet.
Yeah, and so like Kimari basically throws back the tidal wave and at level 2 just flips Sin on its back, giving us enough time like while the ship was sinking. I cast Control Water, one of the most vaguely phrased spells in the entire game, where you can modify one attribute of the liquid you're controlling, one per turn for free. And so I was like, all right, the body of water that I'm controlling, I'm going to like increase the surface tension of it, so that they're bound together. And then I'm gonna make it lighter than air. I basically created a flying water platform that I didn't need, that had only a daily cost in Xeon, in mana. So basically I get all of the crew out from the wreck of the ship, and and I start trying to like cast spells at Sin. I'm like, oh, can I like if I cast Destroy Senses, then on the long and I'm able to maintain it for the entire campaign, then when I start fighting him next time, he will already be missing some of his sensations. That failed, but we basically follow Sin as Sin is heading towards Kilika. We overtake Sin, and I'm able to use like area of effect telepathy to like warn the villagers, get the fuck out of here. Like we do like everybody get to the temple, and atomic restructuring comes in clutch for the very first time, where I rolled well enough that Malekith was able to transform the whole like village, the whole infrastructure, from coral and stone and wood into diamond, and basically made like seeing all of the destruction that was coming to the village, I was like, I'm gonna make it very hard for Sin to destroy it. So like Sin causes the tsunami just like in the video game, but like the village isn't in ruins. In fact, it's permanently in diamond. In the aftermath of that, there is a sort of celebration, but at least one kid had been like too far into the forest to be warned on time, and like at least one person had died. So like while everybody was like celebrating a Sin attack with practically no deaths, Yuna was like on the diamond pier sulking, and Kimari came to like reassure me. And yeah, we explored this moment of like Yuna feels that with the powers that she has, she like with her goal is to prevent deaths from that, and she felt responsible. She didn't feel like it was actually a victory to have lost even a single life. And I don't remember the details, but with very very few words, you like communicated that um, it it was okay. That deaths were going to happen, and that it wasn't my fault. And I remember like it was a 5-word sentence, and you were like, "This is the longest. This is the equivalent of a long motivational speech from Kimari."
I really loved that scene. I especially loved it because essentially I only declared that somebody died so I could still show you the sending cutscene.
Yes. Yeah. Like, but like it had an impact on me because I was like, no, I have enough power that I should have gotten everyone. So like, yeah, and it's a beautiful cutscene. It's just that like the entire time we were like, okay, so this debris isn't actually debris. All of this stuff is actually glitter.
And it's literally one firefly.
And it's a single firefly. But like, yeah, I think that was my first time seeing that cinematic, and it's beautiful cinematic.
Truly.
There's also like another very funny moment where you were showing me what Kilika looks like in game, and I look at it and I'm like, okay, yeah, that gives me a good idea. And you were like, I'm so sorry, I tried to Photoshop it, but it's very clear that there is something like wrong in this image. And I was like, what are you talking about? You were like, no, you just need to like look at it for 2 seconds and you'll find it. And I pointed at some of the graphics. I was like, is this what you're talking about? And you were like, no, I'm so bad at Photoshop, you're gonna find it in like 2 seconds. And I pointed at like 5 different things, and you were like, no, that's from the original game. And then I was like, what Photoshop are you like feeling bad about? You know, like right here in the image that I used, there was a flying spaceship, and I had to erase it. And I looked at it and I was like, okay, Frey, I'm gonna need you to take off the rose tinted glasses of like,
or whatever the opposite of roasted, artist eyes.
the nostalgia glasses that you have on, and to actually look at the graphics of what you're showing me, and to realize that like
all of it looks like shit.
All of it kind of like
it looks a little like shit.
It's like, as a game, I believe it's a work of art, but even with the remastered graphics, I was like,
honestly, the remastered graphics did not do that much. I mean, the cutscenes look great, but the cutscenes always looked better than the rest of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I say absolutely. I take your word for it. Yeah, the next day, we wake up really late because I've got the deep sleeper thing.
You know what? It was a big day.
We role play a little bit. I think Yuna uses atomic restructuring to create like a huge amount of heavy tea as part of her new morning ritual of like, I'm able to conjure huge amounts of like matter. So I'm gonna need some heavy tea every morning, and that's when you gave me the portable altar. As like one of the village elders, as thanks for what I had done, gives me this like little sacrificial altar with like enchantment tools inside of it, and it was portable, and it was one of the things I asked early on about, so that like could use the Anima mechanics so that whenever I killed something, the power of flies would be absorbed into it, and then I had the raw energy necessary to start making magic objects.
I can't remember. I know I had at least thought of it, but like when they handed it to you, were they just like, we were gonna give it to our own summoner, but you did just save the village, or did they say that out loud, or was that just something I thought about having?
No, like I do remember it was to like I do remember that detail. Yeah.
Yeah.
We I think the duel with what's her face
Was after,
right? So like we head up towards the temple. There's this big boss fight, and I am like, okay, I could fight this whole thing, but instead I'm going like, I retreated. It was this like huge boss plant monster, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna try out a couple of like I was like, listen, if I can transmute air into diamond, I'm just going to drop a pointy rod of diamond on this thing from very high up. And like I create a couple just to be like, okay, I've never done this, I don't understand the physics really well. I'm gonna try it out. See what sort of damage I do with these before I do it. And like you did the math on like the destructive power of one of those, and like I had a row of diamond rods like planted in the ground ready to go to like teleport really high up, and it was like the third largest that I dropped into the ocean nearby, and created such a huge explosion that I was like, oh shit, I would have blown up the island if I used this one, and it wasn't even the largest one that I could have dropped on the island.
Yeah, I like estimated the. Well, no, I didn't have to estimate the mass. You could tell me the mass that you were like summoning.
Yes,
and like, you know, I estimated a terminal velocity. Got a very simple like force times basically got the force that it was exerting in the moment of inertia, and then compared that against like dynamite.
Yeah, and
and when we got to like a kiloton of dynamite, that was when we stopped.
yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I did that scene, but I'd always planned with like much later on in the other campaign for Meshem to use his glasses to look at this scene and to be like, oh shit, she didn't know what she was doing, and we came this close to all dying because of her bullshit.
You did. You had that.
Okay.
Which is good.
But like, yeah, that was one of the moments where I was like, I gotta be careful with the powers that I have, because Yuna is not a physicist. She doesn't have points in math. She's got occult, persuasion, and a couple of other skills in very small amounts. We basically I dropped diamond rods on this thing until it was dead, so we didn't. It wasn't really a fight.
I mean, it was an optional boss in the game, anyways.
It was blocking my path, so and was like, listen, this thing is gonna kill some villagers if we don't take care of it, so we gotta. I go up into the temple.
I also definitely remember being able to lore dump a little bit from Waka, being like, Lord O'Holland, the like was a blitz baller that was from Kilika, and was a high summoner, and like I remember, I think you might have it might have waited until we actually got into the temple, like giving you the background of like the faith here was like a crusader, and like giving you the background of like Mihen and the crusaders a little bit here, and
yes. and I was like, oh, I remember there was this like crusader hut that was standing away from the rest of the village down in Kilika. Like I should make a note of that. And what's her face goes in first. I love that you had repurposed how her slutty outfit into a dress by by using your Photoshop skills, and what was her name?
Donna.
So like she goes in first. I wait around a little bit, and I do another round of like, okay, let's find out what the lore is for Ifrit, and yeah, Donna comes out. I go in, and like it was something to do with like the like there was a beam of fire. And
I have the text that like Mei Chen was supposed to tell you, like was like from conversations with Lord Mihan on the high road, that I think I read out to you in game, but
yes.
The ram is, of course, the progenitor of life, as from his steps spring forth the water, in brackets implying a like weird translation. The ram is by itself strong, yet vulnerable to the jackal and the lion. When man then comes upon the ram into flock, the water is turned against the jackal, purifying him. Thus allied, ram, jackal, and man may slay the lion, by which they are beset. When couched in metaphor, the intent is obvious and sacred to the Crusaders of Yevon.
Yeah, and so like it was this beam of fire to represent the water, and there were like statues of the heads of a lion, a ram, a human, and something, and I had to like
a jackal,
and I had to basically like redirect the stream of fire in the correct order. So I got a Ifrit, and I leveled up. What was your remind me your initial intent for leveling up? Was like you were planning for me to level up more than once per temple at the very beginning, and then very quickly at level 3 with what happened at level 3, you were like, okay, you're only going to level up once per temple. So like I became level 3. It was like pretty significant power up. You introduced the mechanic of by fulfilling certain conditions, I'll be able to summon like the stronger versions of each of my faiths, and you were using some of the Anima mechanics. The summoners have some very interesting mechanics that are actually roleplay restricted. So like the GM has control of when those restrictions can be fulfilled, and I had to walk through an inferno of fire to accomplish the second trial, which I think I did pretty much the same night.
Yeah, you like that same night you summoned the fire to walk through. I think you realized, okay, so because there was the trial of the faith, which you automatically got whenever you like visited the faith and passed the trial. The song of the faith was like the second level, and you knew the details of that one.
Yeah.
And then the third one is the dream of the faith, which I was not necessarily telling you.
Yeah, I would, if I happened to fulfill the conditions of that pact, I would get the third level of that faith. Which
by this point you already had actually the dream of the faith, which is why this was around when we introduced it, because the dream of Valifor required the invoker to save 5 people from certain death.
So I was aware that there was a third thing to unlock that I just didn't necessarily know ahead of time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like knowing that I needed to walk through an inferno and survive, Yuna goes back down to the village and starts gathering a ton of wood for a pyre.
Yeah.
And set it ablaze, and then started to we'd left a little tunnel at the bottom for me to crawl through, and I struggled, and then I found out that like you have to walk through it's unaided. That's an important part. Like no magical powers from anybody else, but I found out that I could summon 2 incarnations at the same time, and that was what allowed me to go through the entire thing. Like it was a very nice ruling on your part, but yeah. And then the duel with Donna, basically like Donna was like being very haughty and everything, and I was like, hey, listen, we're both going on the pilgrimage and we're both going to be facing some really hard trials. Do you want to try to like fight each other as a way to learn from each other's fighting styles? And she was like,
I don't have anything to learn from you, but fine, I guess.
Yeah. But like the mana resource takes forever to recharge. So I was like, I'm going to create an illusion, thanks to psychic powers, where we are going to fight each other based on like not necessarily our skills, but what we believe our skills to be. And so like so basically I was doing a matrix. I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a place to fight from your memories, and she had memories of the far plane, so you were able to introduce like the beautiful design of the far plane, and we were on the edge of a cliff, and so and I was like, I'm gonna fight without my familiars, just with my summoning skills, and you'd made her into a key summoner, which are more powerful at lower levels. Like they're able to summon stronger things.
I'd even like made it a canonical thing of like body summoners and soul summoners, since Anima has the 2 different styles. So like both can defeat sin, both can like make deals with the faith and commune with them, and you know, make it all the way to the end of the game theoretically, and you know, make a deal with Unalaska, get a final Aeon, and beat sin. Both can do that, but like the soul summoners are better at the end of the game.
Yeah. But like you had a very good understanding of key mechanics from our previous campaign, so it was much easier for you to be like, I'm gonna create a key summoner.
Yeah.
So we start the fight, and part of my build was that I had very good initiative, so I kept being able to like surprise her in the initiative and hit her and put her on the defensive a few times, but my hits were like pretty weak.
Yeah, just bonk.
Yeah, she summons successfully summons either an Ifrit or an Agni from Anima.
I think it was just an Ifrit. I mean, we are just level 3 after all.
Yes. At that point, yes. And and it started to look like I was gonna lose the fight. I was running low on a bunch of resources and everything, and that's when I was like I'm gonna use my trump card, and I basically tried to banish the Ifrit that she had summoned, but I was fully incompetent in banishment. I was terrible. And the fact that I was trying to do it in a single turn gave me a -100 penalty. And I decided to fail on purpose. So Yuna shouting, incompetent banishment! Used her secret technique, which when you fail badly enough at a banishment roll, you actually summon a bunch of creatures of the same type, a legion of creatures of the same type that are either as powerful or stronger as the thing you were trying to banish, and they're all immune to summoning powers. So you can't. So summoners can't control them or banish them during this fight. And then I jumped off of the cliff, hoping that in the time that it took before I hit the ground, the uncontrollable legion of Ifrit at the top of the cliff would defeat Donna. And that's what happened. And before I hit the ground, we both woke up. And I had won this duel, and she gave me a scroll to summon some of the one of the arcanas, a lesser thing, but
I think I have it on here. Yeah, she gave you the Fool.
Right. Yes. So that allowed me to cancel out penalties and bonuses to summoning. It's a nice one. And for Value 4, I knew that I needed to rescue someone in Luca.
Yeah.
Okay.
Owaka, I believe, was who I had you rescuing. Yes.
Absolutely. So yeah, things progress. We stayed the rest of the day. I start to work on some on some artifacts based on the fireflies I got from their boss. And then when the next day it's time to get on the boat again, I'm very quickly all right, everyone, now that everybody is on board, I'm going to declare that travel by sea is an abomination. I'm going to teleport us directly to the Luca harbor so that we don't have to do this bullshit again. I got us there very quickly. We go down at... interrupt me if I'm forgetting anything. We go down at the big stadium where there's going to be this big tournament that I'm very excited about. There's this team that
the Luca goers
that taunt Waka, and I'm okay, whatever, you're gonna win. I have so many buffs I can put on you, and he was no, don't, that's cheating. There was a troupe of musicians that were performing in the streets trying to get money, and that's when I decided I was going to start wrecking the local economy. I had Malekith conjure a diamond, and I left them a big fat tip. And then I think we go around town, we learn a little bit, and one of the mechanics in Anima that's a complicating factor is it takes you a certain amount of time to learn certain spells, especially the higher level spells. And when I say a certain amount of time, I mean without a trainer or the proper resources or things like this, it can take you decades to learn the upper level
even
spells.
in a high magic setting, which we had set this as.
Yeah, we had set this as a high magic setting, and I was okay, I'm gonna need some training, so let's stay in Luca for a couple of days, and I'm gonna enroll all of my familiars except Cronenberg. No, yes,
No, you did enroll Chrono
Except
Trigger as well.
Mordekaiser.
No, he was still there. He just wasn't learning nearly as much because necromancy.
Because necromancy. So like I'm gonna enroll all of them at the monk training grounds
The warrior monks.
tower.
Which is a bit of a misnomer because they're also magic.
Yes. And so like what and in the meantime, Yuna was going to work on making some magical items. I remember what I did during that week of training was I created I enchanted my own artifact making tools to make it more likely that I would succeed on the future magical making artifact making skill checks, and then I made the ring of mana absorption that allowed me to cast the necromancy spell to drain the mana off of other creatures an infinite amount of times, which allowed me to regenerate my huge 7 pools of mana in between fights, which was very necessary for me to be able to do stuff.
But you jumped right over to your crafting station, but you forgot the meeting that you had as soon as you got to the Warrior Monk Academy, because they were just like, okay, we'll teach you.
No, hold on. Before that.
Okay, you finished.
When you wizards can sense other wizards pretty naturally. They're able to sense when somebody has the potential. It requires a roll, but it's a passive roll. But also, it's much easier to detect a wizard when they are accumulating large amounts of mana to cast big spells, right? So what I did, in order to get their attention and skip the I'd like to talk to your boss, please. I had all of my familiars start to accumulate, but I had the in order to not get into trouble for all of my magical stuff, I had an illusion in an area of effect to make to hide any magical effects that I had that I was doing. And basically anything that my familiars were doing looked natural, or rather they were indetectable in the supernatural sort of way. And so I have them start to accumulate a lot of mana, they're about to cast big spells, and then I drop the illusion so that it looks to any wizard on the inside, it looks like someone just accumulated hundreds of points of mana in a single turn. A really, really frightening thing to find out that you've got 6 spellcasters on your doorstep that just started accumulating enough magic to cast meteor or
which I notably I sort of glazed over it here, but I did decide, because Keenock is supposed to be in charge of the warrior monks and vaguely the military arm, he's kind of also in charge of the crusaders, but not really. And I sort of decided on a whim, okay, Luca exists, so there must be something they're doing to repel sin on a semi-regular basis. Same thing with Bevel. Bevel exists, so they must be doing something. That something's got to be magic. That magic's got to be coming from Yevon, and priests maybe, but it made sense to me that warrior monks, the main thing that they're doing is repelling sin. So magic.
Yeah. So they had 2 towers on each side of the entrance to the Luca Bay and those were magic academies essentially.
And because, like, well, who would possibly want to be attacking a base that's all about defending everybody from sin? Like, you'd have to be fucking crazy. So they didn't have that good of, like, defenses on the land side.
Yeah.
Like,
It didn't have guards. We just kind of walked up to the door and then started accumulating.
yeah, because, like, why would you be here if you weren't a warrior monk?
Yeah. So we got some very quick introductions where we were like, "Hi, we need training."
And they were just like, I will kill you. Do not move.
Yeah. We started the training. I remember you came up with one NPC for every single school of magic to be the high trainer of that, except necromancy. And
You're still glossing over somebody. The first thing they did, of course, was bring you to their big boss.
That's right.
Like you intentionally tried to skip over all the bring me to your leader stuff. So they bring you directly, like, all the way deep through an underground maze that, like, super disorienting, that you hadn't, like, sensed at all, even though it's got, like, enchantments.
Yeah.
And they bring you to a room with a bald dude, Maester Keenock, who's just like, sit, drink some tea, let's chat.
I was like, I'm so happy I got to skip straight to talking with you. You can relax. We have this, like, semi-tense conversation because I some of my, like, passive powers, like hiding my supernatural stuff, he got through relatively easily. And I was like, okay, so he's a powerful dude. When it became tense was when I said something, like, vaguely heretical about, like, I'm gonna kill Sin, and he was like, hold on 1 second, erased the memories of, like, the monks that were present so that they forgot that I had just said that, and I was like, oh, he's that kind of... Alright, everybody mental shields. I was like, you did the, like, oh yeah, he's a religious leader and he's creepy. Very good. But yeah, like, all things considered, that interaction went pretty well. I was like, I'm not afraid. I'm just here to kill Sin permanently. And he was like, okay, well,
A, well, B.
Forget about this.
Yeah,
you
okay.
can try.
Give it a go.
So yeah. So, like, we've got a full week of training montage. And yeah, I think this might be a good place to stop for the first video. We just hit 1 hour, and the big, like, we're powering up to scare those monks shitless is a good place to stop.
Especially with, like, yeah, you tried to scare them shitless, and then Keenock, he didn't, like, scare you shitless, but he did, like, creep you the fuck out.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a little tit for tat.
Yeah, I like I really like your ability to, like, improvise and respond to my, like throughout this whole campaign I was throwing a lot of, like, stuff you might not be expecting at you, and you were very good at like thinking on your feet. They're like the reactions of characters and the, like, you do this like villain is going to do a counter move was very good. There wasn't nearly as much of, like, I wanted a little bit more of, like, hearing what the public had to think about the different developments, but yeah, like, overall I threw you off of the main plot of Final Fantasy X quite a few times, and you responded
Like, very quickly.
We'll get to the big one, because I was level 3. We'll get to the big one in the next video.
Yep.
At level 3.
At
I
level
killed
3.
God.
Well, mostly.